Hi, I'm Chris. This is my printer farm. I've got several printers here. I've got some more up there. Turn the camera around, show you. Up there. And I've got a great big flash forge guider too next door, which is currently out of action. And the reason it's out of action is that I inadvertently blew it up. I'll show you that a bit later in this. And so I bought myself a Dremel 3D45. The reason for that is that I'm mass producing these masks, face shields for key workers during the coronavirus crisis. And my guider broke down and I decided to buy a Dremel. The reason I chose the Dremel is that it's supposed to be a reliable printer, a professional printer, works straight out of the box. This is how it's advertised, and so I went out and I bought me one. Rather than struggle with all my flaky old printers. I've been printing since the early days, and they tend to get clogged up, go wrong. I need to replace parts, replace unclogged nozzles, etc., etc. I wanted something that was going to print all day and churn out these masks, these face shields for me. So I'll tell you a little bit about the Dremel 3D45. Right, I've opened the doors so that you can see it printing, and normally the doors would be closed, and if you open them, the printer warns you, says caution, the door's open. You might just be able to read that at the bottom. But I must say it's a really sweet printer to use. I bought it, I got it out of the box, I plugged it in, I put a filament in there, a roll of filament of the special filament that Dremel supply, switched it on, followed the instructions on the screen, and it started printing straight away, no problems. It took me about 5 minutes. Then I went away and read the instructions, which is normally something I don't do. And thankfully I'd done it right. So I'll just close this up again, and well, no I won't. I'll show you how it works. You plug the filament spool in on the left. You don't have to use a Dremel spool, but you'll have to make your own arrangement for the filament spool if you don't. You thread the filament through a PTFE pipe into the direct drive extruder. It sucks it up and heats it up and extrudes it for you. You don't have to do anything. That's excellent. It's got an automatic bed leveling system, and it kind of does it every time it prints, which wastes a bit of time if you're trying to get things out quickly, but nevertheless you make sure that the bed is level every time. The only slight beef I've got about that is that I think the head prints too close to the bed, and I can't for the moment find a way around that. If I twist the screws that adjust the level of the bed to take the bed a little bit further away from the nozzle, it doesn't like it. It says that the bed's too far away, and consequently, because it's so close, each of these face shields that I'm making, they've got a little ridge at the bottom, a sharp ridge at the bottom, because it's been printed too close to the plate, and that can be a little uncomfortable if you've got a sharp ridge digging into your brow all the time. So there's two things I can do. I can either sandpaper every single one, or I can modify the design a little bit. I haven't done that yet. I think that's what I'll do. I'll just round off the bottom of the design. Apart from that, I can't think of anything really that I've got to criticize on this printer. It's very well made, solid, heavy. It's got a direct drive extruder, which I like. I've played around with Bowden extruders, and I've always come back to the direct drive because they're much less hassle, and also you can print more different types of filament from them. This printer says that it can print anything up to nylon, which is nylon, print PET, PLA of course, ABS, and so on, which is another reason why I bought it, because I'd like to experiment with some of those materials. I normally only print in PLA because that does most of what I want. I did design a face shield. You can see it, this one, that will print on a 150mm bed. Which I print on that printer, the printer that's next to it. I'll put the design on Thingiverse if anybody is interested in that. We started off using somebody else's design. I think it was put on the internet as a free design from the Prusa people. That took over 3 hours to build on my fastest printer. The design that Tobias did prints in just over an hour, and similarly the 150mm design that I did prints in just over an hour as well. The quality of print is very good on the Dremel. If you can see that, but that is printed in draft quality and is absolutely superb. I'm doing in draft quality because it's much quicker, and it's fine. It's excellent. I haven't actually tried printing anything in fine quality yet. Hopefully it'll come somewhere near the quality of the resin printers that I've got over on the left. There you go, over there. And that is the Dremel Digilab 3D 45 printer. Quite expensive, I suppose, as printers go, but I'm glad I bought it. Thank you for watching. I was going to say about the Guider 3. I'll go through next door and show you that printer. Not the Guider 3, the Guider 2. And this is the Guider 2. It stopped working. The extruder didn't work, so I suspected it was the Pololu on the motherboard. So I replaced the Pololu because I got loads of them in the drawer, and I must have plugged it in slightly offset, and the motherboard went bang. So I got a new motherboard, and then I discovered it wasn't the Pololu that was the problem. It was the ribbon cable. The ribbon cable that goes to extruder. It's a flimsy little thing with 40 connections, and one of them burnt out, so I had to get a new ribbon cable as well. So now it's all working sort of, except the motherboard came without any firmware on it, so I had to flash the firmware, and now everything works in reverse. So I'm still talking to FlashForge to find out how to fix that. So that's my Guider 2. and the reason why I purchased the Dremel